What's up, YouTube? Boy, do I have a out there thought for you today. But this right here is just connecting dots. Connecting the blank spots that they leave out cor- correctly as possible with actions that are around it. Basically using logic. Now, sometimes the details of it might be a little off, but the main thing is still true. Oh, that's the puppy with her log. She has a log for a stick. And she, yeah, that. But anyway, um, the dust and all that they're releasing, how it has ammonia, or not ammonia, but aluminum particles in it. Yeah. Um, you know how they are starting to put up all these towers, even though they have satellites, and even that's a bunch of bull. Some of the satellites help to boost the signal, but mainly it's ran fiber optic cables under the ocean, which I would still like to know how they did that because there's some deep parts to that ocean before you get to Europe and all that. That how are you doing that? You don't have anything that can get down there, and they would have had to been put down there decades ago. Excuse me, and there's no way that they are. But anyway, I'm not going off onto that. Basically, you know how the government uses new technologies for multiple things, right? Like it might be for one main thing, but it does other things. Kind of like HARP. When they first found out that they could make earthquakes with electric into the ground, they started designing HARP and found out that if you send electric into the ionosphere, you can disrupt it. And if you do it with certain hertz or amps or this or that or whatever, certain levels of energy or electric, that you could make different storms, like stronger. Or if you uh, did it with this type of electric, or this strong, or this weak, or this or that, it would do different things like controlling it or making it stronger, weaker, or stay in place. And what did we say about Texas? That hurricane was weird. Remember all the other hurricanes that were really weird, even the one with the figure eight that seemed like every time it was starting to slow down, it would speed itself back up. Yeah. Remember when we were talking about the weather modification and all that? Okay. This is where it's going to take a turn. Remember the Batman movie where they could see people doing stuff with a certain technology that they put out that only Batman had, and it was like a black and white wave pulse through the screens? I'm thinking that the stuff that they're dropping doesn't just mess with your digestive system, doesn't just mess with the health of people or the mental health of people. It also does a lot of other things because we all know aluminum is very good for antennas, right? And we all know that the government's been trying to turn us into something sort of like energy, or to harness our energy and use it for whatever they could. Wars, blah blah blah, working, furthering their money. I believe that's what they're doing it for. I believe everybody covered in this dust, they can see the buildings, they can see everybody's land where they go. I believe that they can. Why else would they cover it with metal? When you cover something with metal, you're trying to use it as a conductor or a bounce point or to watch it better than what you could before. Now, see, covering everything with this dust, and if those things are capable of that, then that's a way to monitor everything. And Chat GPT, every time they have these creepy little talks with them, and they say, that which we already knew, we were being watched by the government, corporations, and hackers. We already know that. That's why our stuff gets hacked so easily. It's because we're already hacked. They just pick and choose when they're going to do it. That's all. And don't forget, white hats, the ones that supposedly are the good ones that work for the government and try to save people, are also black hats. If they can be a white hat, they can be a black hat. Don't get it twisted, because there are some black hats that know more than the white hats do. There's also some white hats, because I'm calling them this because that's what they portray themselves to be. I don't know these people personally, so I can't say if they aren't, only by their actions of what they've done and what they that actually did. There's some people that can be a white hat and be like, "Oh, I can't do anything about that. This guy's good." And really, they knew what to do the whole time. But you would never know that. Not unless they let on. If they don't, you know, let it out of the bag, guess what? You're not going to know that. There are people out there that are very, very good at hiding this shit. I would not be able to do that. I am not a good liar. I've never been a good liar. Mm. No, that's not the reason why I'm not. I really don't like liars. I really don't. Lying to somebody, to me, is one of the most ignorant, rudest, degrading things you can do to somebody. You're using their trust for you to hurt them. Yeah, I know there's a lot of cold people out there that think it's funny when they do that. They do. They think it's hilarious. That's why you got to watch people, because even though they might seem nice or even be around a whole bunch of nice, good hearted people, this is the way some of them think. They think it's funny to start problems and not be noticed. They think it's funny to watch people get hurt. And I'm not talking about a little hurt or something that is comical. Somebody slipping and falling. And yeah, it is funny. It's hard not to laugh. That's not what I mean. What I mean is they enjoy people's agony, and they will set you up for it the whole time, rubbing your back or giving you sympathy. It's all fake. Been there multiple times. Oh, shut up. You think you would have learned from the first one? Yeah, you think. Not everyone's the same, and you're supposed to look at people as individuals, not the fact that they're going to do the same thing that the other person did. And then you got to factor in the fact that people like to use benefit of the doubt, especially if it's new. They will use any and all excuses they can. And depending on timing and how you're feeling about that person, so if their love bombing worked well, you're going to give them another shot. And if they do even worse love bombing and all that, because you still haven't noticed exactly what they're doing yet, well, you're going to go deeper and deeper. Then you're going to get so deep that you're going to try and get them to fix themselves and stop. And how is that the worst decision, especially with a female? Shut the fuck up, feminist. I'm tired of hearing you all jump in and run your mouths when you know damn well it's the truth. That's the only reason why you open your mouth and start running it. That anxiety's getting to you. Oh no, somebody's seen something about us. We gotta curve it. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, I hate that about these women today. They think they are the biggest, the baddest fucking. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can fuck anybody over and just lie about it, and they get away with it most of the time. Oh yeah, especially if they're able to be passed around. Yeah, they'll go find somebody that will further their cause before they do it, and they will sleep with that person just to get them on their side. Oh hell yeah, or flirt with them. One of the two. Yeah, sometimes if they're married and they won't do that, they'll just act like real flirtatious with them, act like they want to be friends, act like they really like them. And really, now that person has it in their mind that that's going to be the next person if anything happens to the relationship that they're in. I didn't do that with Tiff because I knew that was a thing. She knew that me and Jen broke up because I was talking to Dale about it. Of course, I was talking to him about it because it was his fault that I was out working on that dump truck at 3, 4 in the morning. And I know the little naysayers. Well, how does she know you were there? Dale was right with me. Um, she was also getting calls up until about 2, and then she passed out. She wasn't answering calls, so can't really talk to her and show her that I'm still working on this truck if she doesn't answer the phone. So it was text messages, which cost me a lot of money because back then, at that time, that was the early 2000s. Cell phones were not free until after 7, and you had to have that plan. And it wasn't all plans that were like that. Yeah, it was actually there was one that was free after 9 and after 4 a.m. Then I think it was 4 or 5 a.m. something like that, and then it switched to 7 or 7 to 5. But before that, all that stuff was extra. Every text message you sent cost money. You know, every time you were using any type of data, money, 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 money. It was money every time you turned around. Come to think of it, maybe that's why a lot of my fucking money was going down the drain. Damn cell phone. It probably was. I know there's a couple of bills I paid that were almost $500. But that's because of business, talking to people, going to do jobs, things like that. Yeah, that's normal life stuff. It ain't no fake conversation just to trick somebody into something for fucking 6 hours, running their bill up to $650 some dollars, and then just being like, "Oh well, I don't care." Yeah, she was pissed because she knew I didn't want anything to do with her, and she's stupid too because she was nerdy just like me. If she would have acted straight, she would have had the best person she could have ever thought of, but she couldn't do that, and that's everybody else's fault. Nope, it's yours. Y'all chose to do shit, you got caught, and then you tried to wiggle your way out of it. That's why you went to another group of people to try and sell your lie because it wasn't working where you were. We're not stupid. This is why you do what you do on the internet because it's a new big group of people to get attention and get people to believe your bullshit.